For America, you can pick one little aspect out of it. You can use it to frighten people, or you can show leadership and solve this problem once and for all.
People felt like this was questioning their motives, their integrity, their own credibility.
Their love of country.
Of course, if you don't sign on to this bill, then you don't want what's best for America. Excuse me? Because people want the laws enforced that are currently on the books. How is that not loving America?
What you just heard there from Laura Ingraham, who has a very popular radio program, is a reflection of what you heard on a number of radio programs today and from a number of people in reaction to what President Bush said yesterday, a little slice of which we played for you. Some thoughts on this battle now from Fred Barnes, executive editor of the Weekly Standard, Mort Kondracki, executive editor of Roll Call, and Nina Easton, Washington bureau chief of Fortune magazine, Fox News contributors all. It would seem perhaps that the president woke up the wrong passengers here.
Look, the bill in the Senate is not his bill. The White House was called in after the negotiations already began on the bill. In the House, they're going to start from scratch. It's not his bill. And the president, I just think, needs to drop out of this debate. He's unpopular. The opponents of immigration reform are going to call whatever the bill is a Bush bill because they think that'll make it more unpopular than it might otherwise have been. And for him to say people pick out some little thing in the bill, the one in the Senate now, negotiated by Senator Kennedy and Senator Kyle of Arizona, a Democrat and a Republican, something little. The truth is, while I basically like this bill, the opponents don't pick out something little. They pick out something very, very big. And that are the Z visas that would allow at some point the 12 million illegal immigrants already in America to stay here indefinitely and perhaps go back to their home country and apply for a green card and then citizenship. And that is that's what they call amnesty.
That is what gives rise to the claims of amnesty.
Yeah, I don't think it is amnesty, and I think besides.
But it's not an unpatriotic argument to me.
No, and he did not look. He did not question their patriotism. He said
if they don't want to do what's best for America.
Okay, but that's not questioning the patriotism of people.
All right, let's talk just for a moment. I mean, Fred suggested he butt out, but let's talk about the substance of what he said yesterday. Apart from whether the president can help, what about what he said?
Well, what he said.
Smart. What?
Well, I think it was unproductive for him to say what he said. To say that you're not doing what's right for America. That's just waving red flags in the face of a bunch of raging bulls. Anyway, these people, some of them females actually, like Laura Ingraham. Anyway. Look, this is not an amnesty bill. This is border enforcement first. Nothing happens until the border is secure.
Well, no, wait a minute. But what does it take, Nina, for the border to be certified as secure, or these steps to be certified? It's simply a presidential certification, isn't it? And that takes care of it, right?
I think so.
You have double the size of the border
patrol. I actually don't know the answer to that question.
You have to finish the fencing. You have to finish the fencing.
But how does it? But what is the step that establishes? Well, the purpose of this law that is done.
We'll know whether the border patrol is doubled.
What is the actual step that establishes it? Isn't it simply a presidential certification?
Yeah.
And suppose Hillary Clinton, for example, is the president. Is that something that the people who are worried about this can count on?
That's why someone who's frequently on this panel, Charles Krauthammer, has suggested a further step. And that is that you have to quantify somehow, I'm not sure exactly how you do it, that illegal immigration is way down. Charles said it should be down 90%. But there's a way to do that, to convince people, to show people in actual numbers that illegal immigration has been substantially reduced, and that justifies the certification.
So you think it would be a good idea to tighten the border enforcement provision and the trigger in the certification?
Absolutely, because people, after decades of practically open borders that we've had until very recently, people don't trust the government to shut down the border.
It's not just border control is not the only important piece of this legislation. It's employer control. It's a changing in documentation. The entire industry right now is based on forged documents, and this bill takes very strong steps to address that. Employers will not only be held accountable, but now there will be a system where you can't forge documents. Illegal immigrants come here for jobs. And if that's shut down, that's a big piece of border control. And the president, instead of stirring up a hornet's nest, as Laura Ingraham put it, should be talking about the controls that are in that legislation.
Well, actually, he did. It's just that.
But I don't think he did it very well.
The whole idea that this is amnesty is just bunk. But you're going to have to be here for 8 to 13 years in order to become a legalized citizen.
Not 8
you get
to 13, at
oh
least
yes,
13.
All right, yeah. You get a Z visa right away.
But a Z visa.
Then you have to pay all kinds of fines and fees, and you have to learn English. You have to have a clean record.
But you would concede, would you not, that the critics' skepticism about whether these enforcement measures will ever be put into place is well-founded?
On the basis of history, yeah. Ronald Reagan was the sponsor of the Amnesty Bill, 1982, the hero of conservative America, and he let amnesty be the law of the land. It's not. This is not an amnesty bill.
Here's why I like the bill. I think conservatives.
That was the Simpson-Mazzoli bill, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, he signed it.
Look, Reagan was not a restriction. Reagan was very pro-immigrant. Look, here's what conservatives get, even the critics, I think, and then they'll realize it. They get dramatically beefed up security. They get this trigger, which can be strengthened, so you really do have to certify that illegal immigration is down. They get a guest worker program that a business wants, and they get rid of chain migration. When if you're an immigrant who gets in, your third cousin once removed also gets in, and those are, and all they have to give up are these Z visas to people who are going to stay here anyway.
You're never going to convince the amnesty crowd.
No,
So,
I
and so
realize
he's saying.